All right, hello, intro to literature students, and happy Monday. For the last 2 weeks, we have been doing a lot of reading and a lot of practice assignments, a lot of mini analyses and responses and things like that. And what we're going to do for this coming week is use all of that to do our very first essay. This is one of two essay style projects that you will do for this class. So here we go. It's very exciting. I told you guys at the very beginning of this that this class would move super quickly just because we're shoving a semester's worth of content into 1 month, and this is just an example of that. You will start this essay today and you will finish it by Friday. So we are going to zoom through it, but the lucky thing for you is that I will be available during class time every single day for you to answer questions, Zoom with you, work with you on this essay, anything that you could potentially need. So let me just start by making this introductory video to the essay itself and kind of giving you the scoop on the outline and kind of the next steps here. So if you're in the Monday folder, there's these two guys in here so far. So we'll go to assignment sheet for essay. And this is like the prompt sheet that you would get if we were in class and when I would explain to you what this project is all about. So we are doing a literary analysis. I'm sure this is a very familiar concept to you because this is something that a lot of English teachers require from their students, especially in literature courses. So in a nutshell, a literary analysis is an essay that delves into a work of literature in a way that is much deeper than any other sort of response or summary that you may do for a story. A literary analysis is where you are really taking one component or piece of a story and delving into it much further than you would on a typical worksheet or reading response. Chances are you've probably written one before, and for this class, you will be representing this skill through a 5-paragraph essay. Like I said, through the last 2 weeks of class, we have read 4 short stories. We read The Flowers, The Monkey's Paw, A Story of an Hour, and Contents of the Dead Man's Pocket. All wonderful stories, all very different stories. And so that is why I kind of strategically placed those all in the last 2 weeks, because you have lots of variety in choosing what you're going to write about. So we read those 4 stories and we simultaneously studied and practiced 8 literary elements. And if you go back to the slideshow that's in every single folder for the week, all of those elements are listed in there. It's that brown slideshow where I go through like theme and character and conflict, and every day you had to practice one of those things. So for this project, we are combining those 2 things. We're combining our readings and what we have learned, and you're going to be applying what you know about literary elements to one of the stories that we've read. Technically, you could pick your own literary element and your own story and pair them up yourself. But what I've done to make your life a little bit easier is I've prepared the stories and elements for you to choose from, just going off of the ones that I felt were the best suited to write about that kind of fit nicely, stories that were really good representations of various elements. So starting in this, what you'll do is you will choose a topic from the list on the next page. So you'll want to go to page 2, and it says choose one of the topics below. So like I said, if you have a different idea for a story and element pairing, please let me know. But here are the choices that I've come up with. So topic choice 1, you can write about theme and the story of an hour. So essentially you are going to determine the most common or most central theme of the story of an hour, and you're going to expand on it by showing me how that story conveys that theme, pulling various quotes and various moments in that story where you see that theme come to life. That's a very basic topic. Topic choice 2 has to do with the literary element of conflict and the story Contents of the Dead Man's Pockets. Contents is a very interesting story in the sense that there are multiple conflicts going on at one time. So you can choose one of those that you feel is the most prominent and expand on that and show how that is what the story is trying to say about this conflict, or what this how the story represents this conflict. Topic choice 3 is pairing point of view and the story The Flowers. So The Flowers was that super basic, very short story that is told in third person. It was the very first story that we read. And what you would do for this topic choice is you would kind of talk about or write a thesis about how this story would be different had it been written in first person. So the main character, that girl in the story, is actually explaining her feelings and her experiences and what she's going through as she's walking through the garden in the story. So that's a super interesting one. You could really go deep with it. And then topic choice 4 is the pairing of foreshadowing and the monkey's paw. So for this one, you are taking the many examples of foreshadowing in the monkey's paw and talking about how the author of that story uses foreshadowing to add to the plot. And you would be writing a thesis kind of saying like, oh, like foreshadowing in the monkey's paw does this to enhance the plot of the monkey's paw. So you could do a lot with all of these. There's a lot of different directions you can take with each topic. And the important part about that is really just nailing down a good thesis. So moving on, back up here, your next step is going to be to write a thesis. So I'm sure that you already know what a thesis is, and I'll link in some helpful little maybe articles or help links to kind of write your thesis. But essentially what you're doing, I've already given you the prompt, I've set you up so you're proving this about this story, and it's your job to get more specific and tell me what you're going to be proving. So for example, let me just take a random story, the story Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl. I could say that Lamb to the Slaughter by Roald Dahl is a representation of feminism in early American culture because this, and this. That's a thesis statement. Here's what I'm going to prove in this essay about this story. So, like I said, I've given you the foundation to write the thesis. You just have to tell me essentially what specifically you are going to prove about the conflict, the point of view, the theme, or the foreshadowing in a story. Then you will establish 3 solid reasons that support your thesis, and those have to be able to be proved by evidence. So collect some nice evidence and then try to pair that into reasonings. So say that it is a representation of feminist culture because the main character is a strong woman because she killed her husband. If you haven't read the story, I'm sorry, you have no idea what I'm talking about. But all of these examples, you're essentially giving examples for why your thesis is true. Then obviously you go in and you find quotes or narrations from the story that would support that thesis. And then you would move on to the outline, which is what is going to be due tomorrow. So not today, it's a super extensive outline. It will be due tomorrow. And then all this rough draft business we will get into later in the week. All of this essay technical stuff later in the week. Structure will be later in the week. The important thing for today is getting into the outline templates. Make a copy of it like we always do. All right, so this is what this looks like. Again, due Tuesday because it's very, very long. It's 4 pages worth of outlining. I'm having you do an extensive outline because I want you guys to basically have this essay like laid out, written, all the details worked out by Tuesday. Like I've mentioned a million times, the amount of class time that you get for the summer program class is 3 hours out of the day instead of 1 hour. That is definitely enough for you to work out your outline. That is 6 hours of time devoted to this. So if you cannot get it done in that time, it's going to be a problem because you're being given a lot more time than you'd probably be given in normal school. So here you're going to tell me your topic choice. You would just say like topic choice number 2 or whatever one it is. Here you would write your thesis statement. You don't need to give me any of this information. That will come with your draft thesis. Just write that again right here. And it's split up by body paragraph. And so body paragraph 1, topic sentence. So you're laying out your thesis because reason 1. Then you would put a quote in here. That's going to be taken right out of the story. You would tell me, is this narration or is this actual dialogue from a character? Then you would kind of give me the context of the quote. What's going on? Who's talking to who? Because a quote is nothing without that background information. Then here you get an opportunity to explain how that quote proves your reasoning. So you're literally writing the entire essay in this outline. Here's my reason. Here's the evidence. Here's why it works, right? This is everything that's going to end up in your actual essay. Then you would do one other quote, then move on to body paragraph 2, do the exact same thing. Here's my second reason. Here's a quote that supports that reason. Here's all the supporting information. Here's another quote, same thing with body paragraph 3. And then the conclusion, all of that will come with the draft. So you basically are just restating your thesis statement here. I know this is a lot. It's a very, very extensive outline, but I'm doing this because if we're all doing this at the same time today and tomorrow, I can be sitting on Google Docs kind of watching you I know it's kind of creepy watching you type and watching you work through this process and making sure that we're all on the same page and being available to you if you have any questions at all. Because it's very tricky because if we were in class, I would be walking around guiding you through this process. And there's not a whole lot else that I can do other than just be here for you. So please, please take the opportunity today and tomorrow to work on this during class time. So from 9 a.m. to noon, and I'll probably be on until 1 or 2 as well. But really taking that opportunity to, maybe not do things at 3 or 4 in the morning for this particular thing. Because if you're sending me your outline towards the end of this week, there is not a whole lot I can do to help you, and the essay itself is due on Friday. So please, please, please use my quote unquote office hours to work on this and ask me 100 questions, please, I beg of you. Because as a teacher working online with a writing project, I just have to sit here and wait for you to come to me. So please come to me, ask me questions. If any of this is confusing to you, if you do not know what I mean by giving context for a quote, ask me. I will hop on Zoom and I will help you. I will hop on chat and I will help you. I will hop on your actual document and give you an example in your box. I will do everything I can. So please, please, please take advantage of this opportunity. So obviously I will give you feedback today, but the outline itself is not due until tomorrow at 9 p.m. All right. So hopefully you watched this whole thing and you know what you're doing for today. And let me know if you need anything at all. I am here for you. All right. Thanks, guys.